Have you ever found yourself agreeing to something only to walk away with that weird feeling that you were, well, cornered? Today, we're going to dive deep into a kind of psychological manipulation that is so incredibly subtle, the person being controlled is often convinced they're the one calling the shots. It's a whole system designed to get you to comply without a fight, all because of this one powerful idea we're about to unpack. We believe that when we are presented with options, we are exercising our freedom. Yet the manipulator can construct a menu of choices where every item leads to their desired outcome. This is the dark psychological paradox of false choice architecture, a strategic illusion of autonomy. Just let that sink in for a second. This single idea right here is the key to everything we're going to talk about. It's the moment where the very idea of freedom gets twisted into a tool of control. So here's our game plan for today. First, we'll unpack that core paradox. Then we're going to define this architecture of control. After that, we'll break down the three-step deception, step by step. We'll even look inside the mind of the manipulator. And most importantly, we're going to arm you with a toolkit to reclaim your real options before we get to the one choice they are always trying to hide. Okay, let's kick things off with that central paradox. We are all, hardwired to value our autonomy, our freedom to choose. We think of choice as a sign of personal power. But what happens when that very instinct is turned against us? What if the choices you're given aren't really there to empower you, but to funnel you toward a single, pre-planned outcome, all while making you think it was your idea all along? Yeah, that's the heart of this manipulation. It turns the act of choosing into an act of obedience. Now, this isn't just some random tactic. It's a deliberate design. You should think of it less like a simple trick and more like a carefully built psychological trap. It actually has a name, a blueprint, and a very, very specific purpose. So let's put an official name to this manipulator's blueprint. The term is false choice architecture, or FCA for short, and the definition is absolutely crucial. It's a technique where a limited set of options are presented, but, and this is the real kicker, every single one of them leads to the manipulator's desired outcome. I want you to imagine being led into a room with two doors, one red and one blue. You stand there, you weigh your options, you decide which one you like better. What you don't realize is that both doors, they open into the exact same hallway. The choice was never about where you were going, only about giving you the illusion of control over how you got there. So what's the psychology behind this kind of thing? Well, this tactic is a real hallmark of personalities that are high in traits like Machiavellianism and narcissism, people who want control without a direct fight. Their primary goal is what we call low-friction control. They don't want an argument. They just want you to do what they want, nice and easy. And to do that, FCA brilliantly gets around something called psychological reactance. Reactance is that stubborn, gut-level instinct we all have. If someone yells, "You must do this," our immediate reaction is, "Oh yeah, watch me not do it." FCA avoids that whole problem by never giving a direct order. Instead of commanding you, it simply invites you to choose. And this brings us to the most important point. The ultimate goal is compliance by illusion. It's not just about getting you to do something, it's about making you feel that you were the one responsible for the action. By choosing the path, you unconsciously take ownership of it. This is a masterstroke because it shifts all the accountability from the manipulator straight onto you. And just like that, they've secured your willing cooperation in your own manipulation. Okay, so we've got the what and the why. Now it's time to get into the nitty-gritty how. We are going to break down the exact mechanics of how this trap is so carefully built and then sprung on someone who has no idea what's coming. So, how does this whole psychological trap actually work? It's not magic, not at all. It's a systematic, three-stage process that taps into very predictable patterns in how our brains work. Let's walk through it, step by step. It all starts with step one, framing the choice. This is the setup. The manipulator has a demand, something they want you to do, but they never say it as a command. Instead, they frame it with limited options that only change the how or the when. For instance, instead of clean your room, it becomes, hey, do you want to clean your room now or after dinner? You notice that? The real choice to maybe not clean the room at all is just gone. It's not even on the table. This instantly narrows your attention filter, forcing you to only think about the options they gave you. And that leads right to step two, the hook. The illusion of autonomy. Because you're now busy weighing the pros and cons of now versus later, your brain gets this powerful feeling of self-determination. You feel like you're in the driver's seat. You're making a decision. That feeling, that cognitive investment, that's the hook that sets the trap. And that brings us to the final step, step 3, self-coercion. This is the trap springing shut. Once you've made your choice, let's say you pick after dinner, a powerful psychological force called consistency bias kicks in. We all have this deep, deep need to be consistent with our past decisions. Since you believe you chose to do it after dinner, you are now internally driven to follow through. You made the call, so you enforce it on yourself. And just like that, you've coerced yourself into doing exactly what the manipulator wanted all along. So we've seen how the trap works. Now let's dig into why it works so darn well. And to do that, we have to look at the psychological forces on both sides of this equation. What's driving the manipulator, and what vulnerabilities in the target are they exploiting? This whole dynamic, it works like a psychological lock and key. It's a perfect, disturbing fit. On the manipulator side, you have two main motives: low friction control, like we talked about, and avoiding accountability. I mean, if you chose to do it, how can they possibly be blamed, right? But look at how perfectly that key fits into the target's lock. The manipulator's desire for easy control is satisfied by exploiting our fundamental human need for control. They offer you this tiny little sliver of agency, choosing how or when, and it's just enough to satisfy that deep need and get you on board. And then their need to dodge the blame is perfectly served by your own consistency bias, which makes sure you follow through on the choice you made. It's a frighteningly effective system. Okay, we've looked at this problem from every angle. We've defined it, we've broken it down, we get the psychology. Now it's time to shift from just analyzing to taking action. This next part is all about empowerment. This is your practical, defensive toolkit. It's designed to help you spot this, dismantle it, and break free from this architecture of control for good. So when you feel that strange pressure, that sense of being boxed in by options that just don't feel right, how do you actually dismantle this thing and break free? The answer is all about aggressively reintroducing the one choice they worked so hard to take away. Here are 3 really powerful countermeasures. The first one, and honestly the most important, is the missing option audit. When someone gives you a limited menu of choices, you have to force yourself to pause. And in that pause, you ask yourself one simple question: what is the third unstated choice? The answer almost every single time is no, or neither, or not right now. You have to consciously look for the option they deliberately hid from you. Once you find it, you move on to step 2, asserting the unilateral choice. Do not get sucked into debating the fake options they gave you. That's their trap, that's their territory. Instead, you immediately and calmly state the option you just uncovered. You can say something like, "Thanks for those options, but I'm gonna go with the one that wasn't on the menu. I won't be doing that today." And finally, step 3 is challenging the premise. This is where you refuse to even accept that their underlying demand is valid. If the false choice is, "Do you want to help me with this unreasonable task now or in an hour?" Challenging the premise sounds like, let's first talk about whether this task is something I'll be involved with at all. You're ripping up their frame and forcing the real conversation. We have covered a ton of ground, so let's pull it all together. As we get to our final takeaway, I want to boil this whole thing down to its absolute essence. This is the part to really lock in and remember. First, and most importantly, burn this into your brain. In a false choice architecture, the options you are being given are not real choices. They are not a sign of your freedom. They are simply tools of obedience, cleverly dressed up to look like empowerment. And always, always remember that 3-step pattern that makes it all work. The manipulator's framing of limited options creates the illusion of autonomy in your mind. That feeling of control is what then triggers self-coercion, driven by your own internal need to stay consistent with a decision you believe was yours. But here's the most powerful part of this whole thing. Just being aware of this pattern, that's what breaks the loop. Once you can see the architecture for what it really is, once you can put a name to it, it loses its power over you. The illusion just shatters. And that awareness is what lets you pull out your tools. With the missing option audit, you can find the door they tried to hide. With asserting the unilateral choice, you refuse to play their game by their rules. You literally reclaim your self-determination the moment you refuse to validate the trap they set for you. So I'll leave you with this one final thought. The biggest lesson here is that the feeling of control you get from picking one of their options, that's not freedom. That's the very mechanism of the trap. The empowering truth to always remember is that in these situations, the only real choice is the one they are actively trying to hide from you. Your job is to find it.